You are not entering a new year. That sentence alone already challenges almost everything we've been taught about time, change, and beginnings. Every December, the world performs the same ritual. Calendars reset. Numbers change. Resolutions are made. And yet, by February, most lives look exactly the same. Not because people are lazy, not because they lack discipline, but because nothing fundamental actually changed. The year changed. The state did not. This episode is not about motivation. It is not about goals. It is not about becoming a better version of yourself. It is about something far more precise, far more scientific, and far more powerful. State. Because physics, neuroscience, and biology all agree on one thing: change does not happen because time moves forward. Change happens because state changes. Let's slow this down. In classical thinking, time is treated like a container. Events happen inside it. You move from past to future, one moment at a time. But modern physics no longer supports this simple picture. Carlo Rovelli, in The Order of Time, and Helgoland, shows that time is not a universal river flowing the same way for everyone. It is relational, local, dependent on interaction. There is no single, global now. Time does not exist independently of systems. This means something radical. January 1st does not carry any inherent power. It is not a reset point in the universe. It is a social agreement. Your nervous system does not know it is a new year. Your brain does not reorganize because a calendar changes. Your biology does not reset at midnight. Only state reorganizes systems. This is why New Year resolutions fail. They are attempts to force behavior change without a state change. And the brain does not work that way. Carl Friston's free energy principle tells us that the brain is a prediction machine. It constantly tries to minimize surprise and uncertainty. Your identity is not a story you tell. It is a predictive model. When you say, "This year I will be different," but your internal state remains the same, the brain resists. Not because it wants you to fail, but because stability feels safer than change. Change to the nervous system looks like danger unless the state shifts first. This is why willpower collapses, why motivation fades, why January enthusiasm turns into February exhaustion. Nothing went wrong. The state never changed. Now let's bring in physics. In quantum mechanics, systems do not evolve smoothly from one outcome to another. They exist in states. A state defines what is possible, not one outcome, a range of probabilities. Until the state changes, the same outcomes keep appearing. This is not metaphorical. Max Tegmark, in Our Mathematical Universe, describes reality as a space of mathematical structures. Different states correspond to different regions of possibility. If you stay in the same state, you keep sampling the same future. This is why people say things like, "I changed jobs, but my life feels the same. I moved cities, but I'm still stuck. I ended the relationship, but the pattern returned. The environment changed. The state did not." So let's be very clear. You are not entering 2026. You are entering whatever state you carry into it. And unless that state shifts, 2026 will simply be a new number hosting an old pattern. This is not pessimism. It is precision. Now pause for a moment. Notice your body as you hear this. Not your thoughts. Your body. Is there resistance? Relief? Recognition? That response is already state information. Now let's talk about what a state actually is. A state is not a mood. It is not a belief. It is not a thought. A state is a coherent pattern across systems. Your nervous system tone, your emotional baseline, your attentional habits, your assumptions about self and world. When these align, a state stabilizes. Georgi Buzaki shows that the brain operates through rhythmic coordination. Neural oscillations synchronize to create perception, emotion, and action. A state is essentially a stable rhythm. This is why states feel sticky, why you can snap back into old ways of being even after insight. Insight does not automatically change rhythm. States do. This is also why deep change sometimes happens suddenly, not gradually. A system reorganizes when coherence shifts. David Bohm described this as implicate order unfolding into explicate reality. When the deeper pattern changes, the surface reorganizes. You don't push reality to change. You enter a different order. Now think about how New Year culture frames change. Set goals. Push harder. Become someone else. But from a systems perspective, this increases internal conflict. You are asking the same state to produce a different future. That is entropy. Ilya Prigogine showed that systems far from equilibrium either collapse or reorganize. But reorganization does not come from pressure. It comes from new coherence. Pressure without coherence produces burnout. This is why so many people feel exhausted before the year even starts. They are already fighting themselves. Now let's ground this even more. Antonio Damasio describes the self not as a fixed entity, but as a continuously reconstructed process. The autobiographical self updates based on bodily states, memory, and prediction. If the body remains in the same regulatory pattern, the self reconstructs itself the same way. So asking, "Who do I want to be next year?" is the wrong starting question. The real question is, what state am I stabilizing right now? Because states precede identity. This is where most self-development goes wrong. It focuses on future identity instead of present regulation. The nervous system cannot live in the future. It only responds to now. If now feels unsafe, pressured, or fragmented, the future will be built from that signal. This is why safety precedes transformation. Not emotional safety in a sentimental sense. Biological safety. A regulated nervous system can reorganize. A dysregulated one resists change. This is not psychology. This is physiology. Now, before we go further, a brief note. If this kind of long-form research-based exploration resonates with you, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps this work reach people who are ready for depth, not noise. You'll also find the books referenced in this episode linked below through Amazon if you want to explore these ideas directly from the scientists and thinkers themselves. Now let's continue. What does it actually mean to enter a new state? It does not mean forcing optimism. It does not mean erasing the past. It does not mean pretending you are someone else. It means changing the baseline conditions from which perception, emotion, and action arise. In physics, this is like changing boundary conditions. In neuroscience, it is like shifting resting state networks. In lived experience, it feels like effort drops. Things don't suddenly become perfect. They become less resistant. This is why real change often feels quieter than expected. No fireworks, no dramatic declarations, just a subtle sense that you're no longer pushing against yourself. That is state change. Now notice something important. States are not changed by thinking harder. They are changed by coherence. Breath, attention, emotion, and meaning aligning. This is why practices that regulate the body often succeed where mindset fails. This is also why New Year motivation burns out. It is cognitive fuel poured into a physiological system that hasn't shifted. Now, let's reframe the New Year entirely. The New Year is not a target. It is a mirror. It will reflect whatever state you bring into it. If you bring pressure, you will experience resistance. If you bring coherence, you will experience alignment. If you bring fragmentation, you will experience repetition. This is not punishment. It is feedback. Systems respond to states. So instead of asking, "What do I want in the new year?" ask, "What state am I living in as I cross this threshold?" That question alone changes the game. We're not done yet. In the following part, we will go deeper into why time feels heavy when states don't change, how probability spaces actually work, why effort increases when coherence is missing, what it practically means to stabilize a new state, and how to step into the new year without pressure, force, or self-violence. This is not about becoming someone new. It is about allowing a different order to emerge. Take a breath here. Let this settle. Before we go further, let's acknowledge something quietly important. Many people feel tired before the new year even begins. Not physically tired, existentially tired. The kind of fatigue that comes from carrying unresolved states forward, year after year, while hoping time itself will do the work of transformation. But time does not heal states. States heal states. And if a state does not change, time simply gives it more space to repeat. This is why some years feel heavy, slow, dense. Not because more happened, but because the same patterns kept looping. Now let's talk about probability. In physics, a system state defines what outcomes are likely, unlikely, or impossible. This is not philosophy. This is how quantum systems are described. A particle in one state has access to one set of outcomes. In another state, an entirely different set becomes available. Nothing needs to be forced. The possibilities change because the state changed. Max Tegmark explains this beautifully when he describes reality as a space of mathematical structures. You don't make a future happen. You move into a region of possibility where that future is already consistent. This is why effort can feel useless when the state is wrong. You are trying to produce an outcome that does not belong to the current configuration. From the inside, this feels like pushing. From the outside, it looks like friction everywhere. Now notice how often people confuse movement with state change. They move cities, change jobs, end relationships, start routines. And yet, something remains eerily familiar. The same emotional triggers, the same relational dynamics, the same internal pressure. This is not bad luck. It is state continuity. The nervous system carried the same baseline forward, so reality reorganized itself to match. Carl Friston's work helps us understand why this happens. The brain is constantly predicting what will happen next based on past data. These predictions are not abstract. They are embodied. Your posture, your breathing, your tone of voice, your expectations, all of these encode prediction. If the predictions don't change, perception doesn't change. If perception doesn't change, behavior doesn't change. If behavior doesn't change, outcomes don't change. Time passing does nothing to interrupt this loop. Only a state shift does. Now let's talk about why states are so difficult to change. States feel like who you are, but they are not identity. They are conditions. Georgi Buzaki shows that the brain defaults to stable rhythms because stability is efficient. Changing rhythm costs energy. From a survival perspective, it makes sense to preserve the known, even if it's uncomfortable. This is why people stay in familiar suffering, rather than step into unfamiliar peace. Unfamiliar peace still feels uncertain to the nervous system. So if change is framed as becoming someone new, the nervous system resists. It hears threat. But if change is framed as entering a different state, resistance drops. Because states are temporary. They don't threaten identity. They reorganize experience. This is a crucial distinction. You are not asking yourself to disappear. You are allowing a different configuration to stabilize. Now consider how New Year messaging usually sounds. New you, new life, reinvent yourself. From a systems perspective, this is violent language. It demands rupture without regulation. It asks the nervous system to abandon its predictions without offering safety. No wonder it fails. Real transformation does not begin with ambition. It begins with coherence. David Bohm described coherence as a condition where parts of a system are informed by the whole. When coherence increases, fragmentation decreases. This is not about control. It is about alignment. When coherence increases internally, external reality reorganizes naturally. This is why deep change often looks effortless from the outside. People say things like, "Something just clicked. I don't know why, but I stopped wanting that. I didn't try. It just changed." What actually happened is that the state shifted. The system found a more efficient configuration. Now let's bring time back into the picture. Carlo Rovelli reminds us that time is not a flowing river. but a web of relations. What we experience as the future is really a prediction. What we experience as the past is really a memory pattern active in the present. So when people say they want to leave the past behind, they misunderstand what the past is. The past is not behind you. It is active in your present state. And unless that activity changes, the future will simply replay it in new forms. This is why trying to outrun the past doesn't work. You don't outrun states. You reorganize them. Now pause again. Notice your breathing. Not to change it, just to notice it. This noticing is already a state interaction. States are sensitive to attention. This is why awareness itself is powerful, not magically, but structurally. Attention stabilizes or destabilizes patterns. When you bring gentle awareness to a state without trying to fix it, you introduce flexibility. Danielle Bassett's work on brain networks shows that systems change when they become flexible enough to reconfigure. Rigidity resists transformation. Flexibility allows it. This is why forcing change increases rigidity, and why softening identity opens possibility. Now think about how you usually approach a new year. Is there pressure, expectation, self-criticism? Those emotions are already states. If you enter 2026 with pressure, you are not entering a new year. You are entering a pressurized state. The year will respond accordingly. If you enter with coherence, curiosity, and regulation, the system responds differently. Not because the universe rewards you, but because systems synchronize. This is physics, not belief. Now let's address something subtle. Many people fear that letting go of pressure will make them passive. But coherence does not reduce action. It reduces friction. Action from coherence feels quieter, more precise, less exhausting. This is why some people accomplish more by doing less. They are not forcing outcomes. They are operating from a state that already supports them. Now, before we close, another gentle reminder. If this episode is helping you see the new year differently, liking the video and subscribing supports the channel more than you might think. All the books referenced here are linked below through Amazon. Using those links allows this research-based work to continue, at no extra cost to you. Now let's bring this home. You are not entering a new year. You are entering a state. That state will determine what you notice, how you respond, what feels possible, what feels heavy, what repeats, what dissolves. You do not need to decide who you will be in 2026. You need to notice what state you are stabilizing as you cross into it. This is a far kinder question, and a far more powerful one, because states are not permanent. They are responsive. They change when coherence increases. They shift when pressure drops. They reorganize when safety returns. This is why the new year does not need to be dramatic. It needs to be regulated. Quiet changes last longer than loud declarations. Subtle shifts reorganize entire lives. And the most powerful way to step into 2026 is not by trying to become someone new. It is by allowing a different state to emerge. In the next episodes, we will make this practical. We will look at how to close a year biologically, not symbolically, how to release unresolved states without forcing, how to stop trying to become someone new and allow integration instead. But for now, just sit with this. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are simply in a state. And states can change. Quietly. Precisely. When the conditions are right. This is how real beginnings happen.